Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about elevators. An elevator, US and Canada, will live, UK, Ireland, Australia, NZ, India, South Africa, and Nigeria is a type of vertical transportation machine that moves people or freight between floors, levels, or decks of a building, vessel, or other structure. Elevators are typically powered by electric motors that drive traction cables and counterweight systems, such as a hoist, although some pump hydraulic fluid to raise a cylindrical piston like a jack. The first reference to an elevator is in the works of the Roman architect Vitruvius, who reported that Archimedes built his first elevator probably in 236 BC. In some literary sources of later historical periods, elevators were mentioned as cabs on a hemp rope and powered by hand or by animals. 24 elevators at the ancient Roman Colosseum were manually operated by the force of over 200 slaves in 1852. Alicia Otis introduced the safety elevator, which prevented the fall of the cab. The cable broke. The design of the Otis safety elevator is somewhat similar to one type still used today in 1874. J.W. Baker patented a method which permitted elevator doors to open and close safely. The first electric elevator was constructed by the German engineer Werner von Siemens in 1880. In 1929, Lawrence Conrad Crispin with Inclinator Company of America created the first residential elevator. Crispin also invented the first inclined stairlift. The first public building elevator was installed in a 9-story high building in New York City. For a couple thousand years, all sorts of devices to raise and lower people and objects were created for particular situations. Many of these early elevators could be quite dangerous. In fact, elevator accidents could be deadly. With the push of a button, you summon a metal box that saves you from trudging up flights of stairs. In fact, for any building more than 4 floors high, an elevator is practically a must. Can you even imagine skyscrapers being around if not for elevators? And apart from the ease and convenience to most people, elevators also make life easier. For those with physical handicaps, elevators are an innovation we're so used to that few of us ever pause to wonder how this box works. Today's modern elevators work just like a pulley. The elevator car that you ride in has a strong metal cable attached to the top of it. That cable runs up the elevator shaft and over a sheave, which is like a pulley wheel with grooves that holds cable security. A powerful motor attached to the sheave can turn the wheel in either direction to either raise or lower the elevator car to reduce the amount of energy needed to move the elevator car. The other end of the strong metal cable is attached to a piece of metal called the counterweight. The counterweight weighs about as much as the elevator car itself, plus about 40 to 50% of the total weight it can carry. The counterweight provides balance and makes it easier for the motor to raise an elevator car full of passengers. It also reduces the amount of braking necessary when the elevator car descends due to the laws of physics. The maximum altitude that one cable hoisted elevator can achieve is 1,700 feet. Hoist ropes become too heavy after that, snapping at 3,200 feet. The only known occurrence of an elevator car free falling due to a snapped cable, bearing, fire, or structural collapse was in 1945. A B-25 bomber crashed into the Empire State Building, severing the cables of two elevators. The elevator car on the 75th floor had a woman on it, but she survived due to the 1,000 feet of coiled cable of fallen cable below, which lessened the impact. The myth about jumping just before impact in a falling elevator is just that myth. You can't jump fast enough to counteract the speed of falling, and you wouldn't know when to jump. The closed door button will not make door close faster. The close button in an elevator is actually a wasteful button made to give passengers the illusion of control in their elevator journey, since the 1990s elevator manufacturers have removed the close function on most elevators since they close automatically. A climbing elevator is a self-ascending elevator with its own propulsion. The propulsion can be done by an electric or a combustion engine. Climbing elevators are used to guide masts or towers in order to make easy access to parts of these constructions, such as flight safety lamps for maintenance. An example would be the Moonlight Towers in Austin, Texas, where the elevator holds only one person and equipment for maintenance. Every 3 days, elevators carry the equivalent of the Earth's population. Elevators in the U.S. travel 7.2 trillion feet or 1.36 billion miles per year. The oldest elevator company carries the equivalent of the world's population in their elevators. Every 5 days, the average user uses an elevator 4 times per day. America currently has over 700,000 elevators. The area required for personal space is 2.3 feet. The average amount on elevators is generally 2 feet. An overloaded car will normally not move. The doors will stay open, and the buzzer may ring until enough people get off of the elevator to reduce the weight. Mirrors are common in elevators as a means of keeping passengers occupied during the journey. This was because people would complain about the journey time when elevators were still relatively slow and mirrors tricked the mind, making it appear faster. They also relaxed people with claustrophobia. Famous elevators around the world: the St. Louis Gateway, or St. Louis, Missouri, United States; Lacerda elevator in Brazil. The busiest elevator in the world transports 900,000 people every month. The Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas features a 29-degree incline up the pyramid. The Aquadome in Berlin, Germany, runs through the largest cylindrical seawater aquarium in the world. The Umeda Hankyu building in Osaka, Japan. Each of the 5 elevators hold up to 80 passengers, etc. When riding on elevators, follow these guidelines, stand back from the doors, hold a handrail if available, pay attention to the 4 indicators, and be prepared to exit at your destination. If the doors do not open, when the elevator stops, push the door open button. When you enter an elevator, when it is still stationary, you don't feel anything unusual. This is because the forces acting on your body are all balanced and at equilibrium. Since the body is at rest, physics says, and so do we, that the body will want to continue to be in that state of rest. However, the sudden movement of the elevator breaks that state of rest, and the person begins to move upwards, giving them a strange fuzzy sensation in the head. Some experience drowsiness, lightheadedness, or even a mild headache. However, that feeling only lasts for a short time, not more than a few seconds at most. This is again due to the first law of motion. Since you are now moving at the pace of the elevator, since you are in the elevator itself, the forces again acting on your body have found their balance, making you feel completely at ease. Eventually, the elevator comes to a halt. You will again experience a sudden jerk as you cease moving, and your head will feel funny for just a moment. Elevator surfing, also known as lift surfing, vader surfing, or bay roping, as an activity involving riding on top of elevators. Rarely, the activity may also involve jumping between moving elevators. Although most elevator surfers consider this to be unwise and needlessly dangerous, elevator surfing is illegal in many locations, and several people have died or were injured. Surfers can be crushed between the elevator and the top or sides of the elevator shaft, be struck by the counterweight, or slip and fall to their deaths. Despite fears of getting stuck or free falling in an elevator, riding in an elevator is actually safer than riding in a car. On average, 26 people a year die in an elevator-related accident, mainly elevator technicians, not passengers. About 26 people die per hour in car-related accidents. Elevators are statistically the safest way to travel. Elevators are 20 times safer than escalators. There are 20 times more elevators than escalators, but only 1/3 more accidents. Elevator hatches are generally bolted shut for safety reasons. In times of elevator crisis, the safest place is inside the elevator. What should you do if you get stuck in an elevator? Take a deep breath. When the elevator you're in first lurches to a stop between floors, your gut response may be to panic, especially if you get claustrophobic, but don't. Getting nervous will only make things worse, especially if you work yourself into a full-blown panic attack and nobody can get in to give you medical attention. Phone for help. If a phone is available, an intercom or hands-free phone may be available. Follow the instructions for their use. Do not force open the elevator doors. Do not attempt to leave the elevator. Push or pull the alarm button to call for assistance. Press the call button. All elevators have them, and there's a reason they are there for situations just like this. Some elevators have an emergency telephone to be used for the same purpose. Your call will signal building maintenance that there's a problem with your elevator and set the wheels in motion for your ultimate exodus. If no one answers their call, try banging on the door to get the attention of people outside to let them know you're stuck inside. Sit back and relax. No matter how quickly building maintenance is called, you will still have to wait for them to come and fix the problem. Thanks for watching this Adventurous Kids episode, fan.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids!
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids!